fair lined slippers for the cold, with buckles of the purest gold. A belt of straw and ivy buds, with coral clasps and amber studs. And if these pleasures may thee move, come live with me and be my love. The shepherd's swains shall dance and sing for thy delight each May morning. If these delights thy mind may move, then live with me and be my love.
All right. So I've underlined a couple things up here. So these are some of the things that we're going to be talking about and filling in on the worksheet in just a second. So we have, and we will sit upon the rocks, seeing the shepherds feed their flocks, melodious birds sing madrigals, and then a gown made of the finest wool. So keeping in mind that these pastoral poems are talking about shepherds, they're kind of talking about nature. That's why some of these things are underlined, because that's how you know it's a pastoral poem. So here we're talking about sitting upon the rocks, seeing shepherds feed their flocks, right? This one literally says shepherds. And then we have melodious birds sing madrigals, and a gown made of the finest wool. So here, the reason I've circled melodious and finest is because those are some words when we talk about, using textual evidence to say what the speaker is like feeling about the person that they're talking about. Melodious and finest are some really, really, really big clues. So now, if y'all want to look at your worksheet, make sure to turn to the side that says Shepherd's Line and Nymph's Reply. And what you're going to do is write down some of these things that I underlined on the board. And when you're writing those down, you're going to want to put the line number just so that you can reference it and go back.
Gregorio, will you erase that red? Thank you, sir. He gotcha.
That's fine. Okay, so the first
Good job,
one
sir.
is, and we will sit upon the rocks.
Thank you.
So when he says, and we will sit upon the rocks, who's he talking to? Who is we? Is it the shepherd?
The person he loves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So seeing the shepherds feed their flocks is the next one. So these are just examples that show that it's pastoral. And then after that we have melodious birds sing madrigals. Do y'all know what a madrigal is? So it's like a particular type of song that's from this time period. It's very kind of upbeat. Oftentimes a lot of people will sing madrigals, or like a small group of people. It has a lot of parts. And then finally we have a gown made of finest wool. So we answered the question of who the speaker is talking to. What do y'all think he thinks about the person he's talking to based on the words that he uses? So from these quotes, when we say melodious birds sing madrigals, what do you think that means for his feelings towards the person he's talking to? Do you think that he, really, really likes her? Is there a problem here? Is he hopeful? What's up?
They're in love. You're trying to make himself sound like he knows how to speak.
Yep. And he's also talking about a gown made of the finest wool. So he's talking about having, the best.
He's trying to show off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, head.
You're good.
Don't worry, guys. Nothing was
For
there.
the next section, are they reading it together?
Yeah, we'll read it out loud the first time, and then we'll turn them loose and let them, just explain how you're gonna do that. They need to find the the left side's opposite.
Okay.
And then you'll be good to go.
Do you think we can go through YouTube?
I think so. I mean, this poem's relatively straightforward. It's a lot easier than the last one.
Yeah.
So. Next page, flip it over.
All right, so we just read the Shepherd's Line. So we have a poem that's kind of a reply to that. It's called The Nymph's Reply to the Shepherd. And what we're going to do is the same thing that we just did for this other pastoral poem. Go through and find the things that are kind of opposites. Whenever you're reading this poem, look for things that use like similar wording to the Shepherd's Line. So for example, the first one says, "And we will sit upon the rocks." So in this poem, you'll want to look for the author saying something about rocks, because the main point is kind of to look at the different ways that they're talking about the same thing.
So the first
The
part was when the
nymph's
male,
reply.
the man was replying. This is the woman's reply to his affections.
To the shepherd, Sir Walter Raleigh. If all the world and love were young, and truth in every shepherd's tongue, these pretty pleasures might we move, to live with thee and be thy love.
In response to the passionate shepherd to his love, so the first one that we read, the speaker is a young woman, and is the young woman that Marlowe's shepherd addresses. So she rejects the shepherd's offer of love, arguing that his vision is unrealistic and that love based on beauty and youth will wither and die. So specifically, when it's talking about youth, there are a lot of references to time in here, and that there's no way that this could last. That's what she thinks. So if we want to just look real quick at the example, the lines from the Shepherd's Line is, "I will make thee beds of roses," and then the reply, Nymph's reply, is "flowers do fade." So when we're looking at this, we can see that "I will make thee beds of roses" is very loving, it's very tender. He wants to do something nice for her. He's trying to woo her. That's the point of this poem. And she responds and says, "Flowers do fade." So she's saying those flowers won't last. You'll make me a bed of roses and they will die. So she is really just turning him down. So what you want to do is go through by yourselves, or
You can do it in groups if they want. Yeah.
yeah, in groups or by yourselves. You're going to go through the Nymph's reply and look for things that lines that directly relate to the ones that we wrote down from the Shepherd's Line. And if you're having any trouble,
I'm stuck
just
here.
let us know. Most of the time it'll be focusing on, like, in the first one it's a bed of roses, and in the second one it's flowers. So if you look for like similar objects that they're talking about, they're just going to describe them in different ways. So if you want to go ahead and get started on that, group up if you want to, stay by yourself if that's what you want to do. Yeah.
So this page is going to be, well, it's not going to be due, but I do want you to finish it. But remember that journal entry I told you to do? I did not forget about it. Go ahead and get that out, and I'm going to grade it while you are talking, okay? So go ahead and make sure you have that out. I'll be out to grade it in just a minute.
We turn these in.